Goonies, one and all, from this galaxy to one far, far away. This is the Resistance broadcast, Galactic Goonies. I'm John. Thank you for joining us on this episode as we tackle episode 5 of Skeleton Crew, entitled You Have a Lot to Learn About Pirates, written by Myung-Jo Westner and directed by Jake Schreier. Welcome to the show. Lacey with me, as always. How are we doing, Miss Gillerin?
Hello. Survived the holiday. I made it. We did it, team.
Yeah, you're back to
now
full
we started
health.
all over.
You got over your cold and all that stuff, and you're ready to
Yes,
tackle the new year.
Mhm.
But with us, returning back to TRB from the long-running Anakin and His Angel blog, the great Jen Marie. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. It's been a long time.
Been a long time. And yeah, you haven't done podcasting in a while either. So
Yeah.
we are honored that you are taking the time out of your schedule to join us during the holidays. And what a great episode to do that, because I know you love the fun, nerdy, quirky stuff in Star Wars as much as anyone. And this episode had a lot of it.
Yes, it sure did. In fact, I have Neil here with me.
Oh my God. Love it.
That is awesome. Now, Jen Marie, for our listeners who may not know about your blog or whatever, I'm sure they already do, but for those who don't, let them know where they can find you on social media, on your blog, and all that stuff. Plug away.
Yeah. I've been blogging about Star Wars for 24 years now. And it's just kind of a little bit of everything: style, collecting, Galaxy's Edge content. But I'm Anakin and His Angel pretty much on all the platforms except for X, where I'm across the stars.
Yes, right. Yeah. So when I was trying to find you to tag you on Blue Sky, which is like, where I'm trying to post more now, I was like looking up across the stars. I'm like, oh, wait. No, it's not that.
I know. Yeah.
But we have you in the base. So welcome. Thanks for being with us. And thanks to everybody who's joining us, whether you're listening on your favorite podcast app or you're driving around during the holidays. You don't know what day it is, but you know it's time to talk about Star Wars.
Time does get lost between this Christmas, New Year's period. It's like time does not exist.
Yeah, it's like a hyperspace travel lane, and we're not sure where we are in the galaxy, but here we are. But also, if you're in the live chat, thank you for joining us live, of course. Super chats are available if you'd like your comments or thoughts read on the show. We appreciate that support there, but we just want everyone to have a good time. So chat it up, enjoy the discussion, and contribute to it. And let's have some fun talking about Skeleton Crew Episode 5. So let's get into this. Let's rate the episode. We do this every week. We're gonna rate it on the NEEL scale because we love NEEL, as Jen Marie just put up the Funko Pop. But 0 to 10 halves count solely about this episode. So Lacey, we're gonna start with you for episode 5. What did you rate You Have a Lot to Learn About Pirates on the NEEL scale?
I gave this episode a very high score. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was so pumped to watch it. I got home from Christmas Eve, watched it, was so excited to talk about it, but I know John hadn't watched it, and I was like, please go watch it right now. I am so excited. I love this. I gave it a 9.5. I loved everything about it. We're gonna get into it. I don't know why it's not perfect. I'm sure I'll get there when we talk about it. But I rate on my scale of 1 to Luke Skywalker being 10. So it's really hard for me to get to that 10 when I know Luke Skywalker is not involved. Sorry, guys.
So if he showed up, 10.
10.
Luke's taking a mud bath, just chilling.
Just
hanging out with the banking clan,
but
just taking a nice soak.
Episode was so much fun, and I watched it several more times, and every time it just got more fun for me.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend, especially with this show in general, for people who really do love this stuff. All right, Jen Marie, 9.5 sets the bar. How about you with episode 5 of Skeleton Crew? Where are you on the NEEL scale?
Okay, you guys, I gave this one a 10. For context, I gave episodes 1 and 3 a 10 as well.
Wow, all right.
So yeah, I just loved it. I felt like we got to spend the most time with Jod and the kids in this one. At least it felt like it. And I just really love the dynamic. And there's a lot of different Jod has a lot of different emotional responses to the kids. And just the different scenarios, which I'm sure we'll discuss, but I just found that all very fascinating.
I agree. I feel like Jude Law, every episode, it just gets better and better with the
Yeah.
intrigue of who this guy is and who he isn't, from maybe more
I
importantly.
know. Yeah.
So that's, I mean, 10's, top shelf, doesn't get better. So I love that. So 9.5, 10. I guess I'm the Grinch here because I only gave this episode a 9. So who am I? I'm wearing the Galactic Goonies shirt. I'm ready to go, and I come in all confident. 9. It's like I'm a shill because I gave it a 9, and I had the lowest
No.
score out of the 3 of us. But I thought, yeah, we're gonna get into it. But I really thought Jude Law was just so good in this episode, and I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. Jen Marie, I think the last time I saw you in person was at the Indiana
Yes.
Jones premiere, and this
Yes.
episode was like chock full of a lot of indie things, including some sound effects, I think. So
Oh.
it's a 9er for me. That gives, I'm sorry I said 9er, and that gives us a 9.5 on our scale. TRB and Jen Marie, a lot of Neels, absolutely,
Lot
love
of
seeing
Neels.
that.
Yeah, the most Neils so far.
This might be one of
Yay.
the higher rated episodes out of all the Star Wars streaming shows that we've done scales for. So this is up
Yes.
there, probably competing with The Rescue, like Lacey alluded to before, the Luke Skywalker Mando episode 2 finale. But we still have 3 episodes to go on this one. So
Yeah.
we did check in with the TRB community, and they checked in with a 9.2. So another excellent score from their side of the aisle, sort of right there with us. Anything over a 9 is just spectacular. So it looks like everybody's feeling the same way about what's going on. And now a couple of comments from the community. We have Sachi first, and Sachi said, "Can't play a shanty on a harp. 9.5. SM33 is my spirit droid. This was so fun. Answers to mysteries, action, and the humor. I loved it." And then Sneaky Zebra, what's up, Gary? He came in with a 9 and said, all he said was, "That ending alone." And I couldn't disagree at all with that. So great scores all around. Lacey, I know we do have some super chats before we get into the treasure hunt, and then we'll dive into the episode.
Sure. So first up, we have Padawan Michael. What up, man? How are you and Debbie? Hope everybody is well.
Hey,
Happy
Michael.
holidays. He said, "Happy New Year" from Michael and Debbie. Of course. Heart guys. Michael, Angelo, Sarah, and Francesca, Emily and Connor and Greg. Oh, the whole fam. We are making pizzas in Long Island and enjoying a great Galactic Goonies discussion. May the force be with you. What kind of pizza we got? That's the big question. Forget Galactic Goonies. What kind of pizza we making?
I mean, if they're making pizza on Long Island, I gotta imagine it's very thin, maybe a little crispy.
John's like,
yeah.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I was born on Long Island, so, and Michael knows that. So, like, pizza in New York, I mean, Connecticut's better, I have to say, but pizza in
Ooh.
New York is top shelf stuff. So I hope you guys, I'm sure you're good at making pizza too, Michael and Debbie. So thank you very much.
The best. Next, we have David Ford. Thank you so much. He said, "The bounty hunter drama intrigue and Indiana Jones / National Treasure vibe is awesome. It's okay to borrow as long as you put it to good use and deliver." That is true. That is very true.
Agreed.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
And next is Anders. What up, man? He said, "I always work on Wednesday evenings, so I'm stoked to be able to plug in tonight." We're so excited. We're pumped. What's your picture, by the way? What is that? Is that a frog?
I don't. We're all like getting up.
I
don't know.
Like a creature of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And for those of you that are in the chat right now, feel free to have a good time and also like and subscribe to this episode. We appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for those super chats. Keep them coming. If you got something you want to toss out there, we appreciate it. But now it is time for the Galactic Goonies treasure hunt. So we have a season-long giveaway contest going on. I will ask a trivia question every week, as I've been doing. That continues now. Having all of the answers will be very important by season's end, but ye be warned. Don't share your answers with any other pirate, or they'll snipe you at the first chance they get.
I appreciate that you went full in on the pirate this time.
Yeah, last week I did a normal read, and people
you were like,
made me do it again.
"Ye be warned, friend."
I know. Didn't you make him redo it?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had to redo it. So now I know to bring it 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so keep track of the answers each week. On the final episode of Galactic Goonies on January 15th, I'll reveal how to submit for a shot to win the Galactic Goonies treasure, which includes the grand prize, the Lego Star Wars Skeleton Crew, Onyx Cinder Spaceship, TRB Galactic Goonies merch, and more. So I hope you have the first 3 questions and answers. And now the fourth question is, what Jedi Knight was found living on Peridia in the Ahsoka series?
Dun dun dun.
No, I don't think anybody needs Jeopardy music for that, but keep the answers to yourself. The point is not to make it difficult. The point is for you to be consistent, because that's what a good pirate does. Look at Jod. The guy's just after it. He's like, it didn't work as that name. I'm going to be this guy. And we'll try that.
Jodwick came up this
Ooh, you
episode.
just called him a good pirate. That's very interesting.
Maybe he's not a good pirate. I don't
Maybe
know.
he's not.
Yeah. I don't know. Lacey, do we want to reveal the upcoming slate of guests now or do that later?
Sure, we could do that real quick.
Ooh, how exciting.
Okay, to round out Galactic Goonies, we have 3 episodes left, and there you have the remaining slate of guests. On New Year's Day, we'll be joined by Xanthi from Star Wars Music Minute. She is fantastic. Can't wait to have her in the base. We've been on her show a couple times now. Ken and Joseph from Force Center I think it's the first time we're collaborating with them, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, we've never done a collaboration before.
Very pumped about that
I
for
feel like
episode 7.
It's weird that we haven't, but this is
The
it.
time has come.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, I think the longest, the most frequent guest we've ever had, Clayton Sandell, coming back on January 15th to close things out with us. So we are very excited to have them join us, just as Jen Marie has joined us today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into the discussion about this episode because there's a lot to talk about. You know, yes, it's under 40 minutes, but I feel like all these Skeleton Crew episodes have so many different things that you can just be passionate and talk about forever. But let's warm things up by talking about maybe our favorite moment, shot, line, something that just stood out to you and gave you the most Star Wars energy you can take from it. So Jen Marie, did you have a particular moment in this episode that stood out to you, or a line or anything like that?
There were a lot of them, but I tried to just pick one. And it came down to the scene when Jod goes after Wim in the Onyx Cinder when he's kind of having a little moment. And I found it even more interesting to watch, having seen the last scene in this episode, to go back and watch that, because the end of the episode was so shocking, so intense, so like you just felt so terrible for those children. And it just makes you think, oh my gosh, like he's a terrible guy. How could you do this to, these kids? But watching it back, I just felt that, maybe he really is, even though that was just absolutely terrible, maybe he really isn't all that bad. Maybe his lust for this treasure just got the best of him, because I feel like he hesitated going after Wim, but he did. He went after him, and even when he was kind of like peeking around the corner, he saw him, crying. He's like, oh gosh, I don't know if I could do this. And then Wim mentions his mom, and I think that struck a chord with him. Maybe there's something that happened, in the past with his mom. And then he sits down and he starts talking to him and kind of giving him like this, maybe like Jedi advice of how to get through this. And I just feel like if he was truly all bad, that wouldn't have happened.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's a great moment too, especially the Qui-Gon callback.
Yeah, that was one of the things after John admitted he saw it. I was like, so like Jod's a Jedi, right? Like all those like blatantly obvious quotes about attachments and destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Jen Marie. Like, I don't think anything provided by the writers on the show is done just as supplemental. There's a reason for a lot of these scenes, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Him having that moment with Wim, he had a moment with KB earlier in the season. It's building up these relationships. So in my opinion, I don't think he's going to ultimately betray the kids in the end. There's going to be a rocky
Yeah.
road, but
hmm
those scenes are very important. So good call. All right, Lacey, you're up. There's so much to choose from. I have no idea where you're going. Usually you're a shot person.
I am a
But
shot. I have a shot and a favorite moment. Are you gonna make me pick one?
I mean, do
Can
what
I
must
just
be
do the
done.
shot quickly? The shot is the ending shot that's a rack focus that goes from his
There we go.
hand to his face. So cool. I'm only talking like that because John made a face just now. That was a really cool shot. My favorite moment
Rack
actually,
focus.
my favorite moment was something that brought me back to one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Spirited Away. By I'm blanking on his name, Hayao Miyazaki, and which is funny. We're going to Japan soon, and it is the scene with the hut in the tub in the mud pit, and the guy comes up with the food, and he's like, "Here you are, sir," and then he's just like, "Please, no, not again." That is literally a scene from Spirited Away, which for those of you
Oh
that
my
don't know, it's
gosh.
an anime with the bathhouse. There's a monster that goes into the bath. He's big, he's eating everything, and he eats this little frog dude. And that's like one of the like shocking moments in the movie that you're like, oh my God, that person, he just ate a person. So it just really took me back there to that moment. I was like, he's like no face, he's just eating everything.
That
So
that
when I
confused me.
rewatched that scene, I had the subtitles on because I didn't catch what he said the first time. And I was like, wait, he said not again? Like, what's happening here? What does he mean not again? He's
Yeah, so
experienced being in this hut's mouth already. Like,
So he
I
probably swallowed
yeah.
him and then he barfed him up. That's literally
oh
what he probably means.
gosh.
It's either that or he like uses him to like pick food out of his mouth or something.
I
Oh,
don't think so because he puts him up, goes to pick him up again, and then belches, which to me says he ate
oh,
him.
Oh, there was a belch. You're right.
this is
Yeah.
Yeah.
very interesting.
Not
So yeah,
again.
in Spirited Away, No Face, the character eats this frog dude that looks exactly like that guy. So I felt like it was a call out to that. I gotta, if I ever get the chance to ask about it, I will totally do that because
Yes.
it just seems so obvious. But I just found that to be so Star Warsy, especially with the hut, and then immediately, us nerds were. I'm like, what hut is that?
Yeah.
Like, what's
Right.
happening?
Yeah.
But overall, it was a wild episode. But yeah, that's my
Yeah,
moment.
it was. I think my favorite moments were the Indiana Jones callbacks. The moment, and I remember seeing this in one of the teasers where that laser goes over the kids' heads, and
Oh.
when they showed the skeleton or of the pirate or whoever it was being, having been decapitated, I'm like, this is Last Crusade. This is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is the penitent man shall pass. You kneel before God. And it's like the kids don't know, but they're short, so it just missed them. But Jod, thankfully, and SM ducked and got out of the way. But like that, and then I swear, correct me if I'm wrong, when they were on that bridge and he got called out for not being that professor, and he does the run thing, and they run, and then KB uses the wrench to like mud the guys into the bath, and then Jod turns around and does a Harrison Ford swinging sock punch.
It's so Han
Yes.
Solo.
I
It's so-
swear to God, that was the Indiana Jones punch sound effect. I could be going
Oh.
crazy, but I swear I heard that like David Collins like let us know because it sounded like that really loud, over exaggerated Indiana Jones like. Psh. So that's what I heard, and so just hearing the sprinkles of that Indiana Jones sound, but also the exploratory adventure nature of it, just hit me right in the feels. That's like my comfort. I love that stuff. The exploring, the mystery, the adventure, and them going down into that tomb that we saw in the previews with all the gold and all the riches. I was like, wow. The only thing
I
I'll
don't want to
say,
be
like,
lame. I literally was like, this is like National Treasure.
I I never saw National Treasure, so I mean maybe.
Shut up. It's so
Oh,
good.
it's really
Is it
good.
good?
Yeah.
It's so good.
All right.
Yes.
I'll watch National Treasure. I mean, there's a lot of things I haven't watched that I have to
I
watch.
would
Mm.
put National Treasure over Indiana Jones any day. I'm going to say
Really?
that. I'm going to
All
start
right.
fights right now.
Whoa, wow.
How many are there?
One.
Oh,
Or is there two? There
No,
might be
there's
two.
2.
There's
Yeah,
two.
because I remember Sean Bean is in the second one.
Oh,
I love Sean Bean. Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's fate. So Lacey has to watch National Treasure 2, and I had to watch National Treasure 1, apparently.
I might have
Yeah.
seen it, but I just like the first one. It's so good.
Yeah, the first one's the best one.
That's like Pirates for me. The first Pirates movie is unbelievable.
Oh.
I love that. All right, so favorite parts aside, I think we got to talk about the parents. We got to talk about Jod. We got to talk about a lot of things. But one thing I had to laugh at a little bit was I'm sure when they made and released the trailers, and everyone was speculating that the kids are going to be encountering some massive monster, and it turns out just being the most chill, lounging spa attending creature with a mustache to look like Wilford Brimley, and he just my expectations were completely flipped, because when you saw that tentacle in the trailer slap, you're like, they're going to be in big trouble, they're going to have to get out of it.
I
And
thought
it's
it was
just
some
this
creature
guy.
that was living in a quest of getting to the treasure. Like that's where I thought that was going.
It's just this
Oh,
nosy
wow.
guy in the baths.
It's so funny because I only watched 1 or 2 trailers, so all of this was a total surprise for me.
Yeah, you skip trailers, right?
I have more recently with the Star Wars projects, yeah.
Yeah. And have you found like that's been a good way to go for you? Just total surprise on
Yeah, like
every
I
corner?
definitely enjoy watching, 1 or 2, but then it gets too much for me now.
Yeah, because then you're like, which we do. We're like, we haven't seen that scene yet. We haven't seen that scene yet.
I
Or
totally
Yeah.
have done that. In the
Yeah.
opening just now, I was like,
about Gunther. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Gunter or Gunther? I forget.
Um,
I think
Julia
it's
White's
Gunter.
character. Gunter. Yeah.
Gunter. Yeah.
Do you think,
Okay.
are those guys alive then? Because
I
did
think
they
so.
tiptoe out of there? Yeah.
Someone
I think
lost
so.
something, hand, foot, something. But yeah, they're okay.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, we
Yeah.
have to see him out on the thing, the opening patio with the
They-
X-wings.
They probably got out.
Oh,
The only other thing that confused me was who refilled the acid, because Jod just says refill the acid and it happens. Like
I think it goes into a thing, and then once
Yeah.
he has the droid, which was SM-33, activated again, it fills it back up.
oh, okay.
Mhm.
So SM-33. was
So,
able to
yeah.
activate
I'm
it.
thinking
Yeah.
whoever is right at the door is toast,
Yeah,
but maybe
true.
the
Yeah.
ones further back were able to get
It
out of there.
reminded me of Visions, when they had that one story where the kid escapes through the fountain or the pond at
Mhm.
the like safety place that he takes his sister to. I think it's the one from India, and they go down underneath the pond and it
Oh, I
clears
think I
all the
remember that.
water,
Yeah.
and then they bring the water back to hide them. That's what it
Mhm.
Yeah.
reminded me of.
Yeah. And Jen Marie, you're right though. Like usually it's like anything with the Empire or any bad guys in Star Wars, you like send the scrubs to the front. It's
I know.
Like, Jod tried to do that with the kids. He's like, I'll be in the back. And they're like, no, you won't.
Mhm.
And so you're probably right. Anyone who got it was probably not like Brutus or Gunter or any
Right.
of the main
I didn't even
characters.
spot Brutus with that group.
No,
I think he just
I
sent
think
the ships.
yeah.
Yeah.
sent the
Yeah.
minions. Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
hopefully we see more of him. That character is just so cool.
I know. I think we're gonna see like him and Jod.
Battle
know.
it out.
Yeah. That's
That'd
what
be
I'm
cool.
hoping for.
Little showdown. I like that. All right. Well, let's get the parents out of the way, because we do get to check in with them to kick
Yeah.
off the episode. And you have Wim's dad, you have Neil's mom just showing up to his floor and like handing him this little device. It's like, where did she get that from? That was all very interesting. And then of course, like the only thing I was like, why was he nervous about getting in trouble if he knew his boss was on his side with all of this? Because he gets reported, he gets in trouble, and she's just like, delete your memory and shut down. And then she's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's talk. But what do
Well,
you
it
guys
seemed
make of
like-
what's going on with the
sorry.
parents?
Yeah,
Okay.
it seemed like there was that plan for Fern's mom, what's her name? Farah, right?
Farrah.
Mhm.
To kind of go to the supervisor and handle things that way. But Neil's mom kind of, spoke with Wendell and kind of convinced him, hey, I think we need to do this. So maybe it was that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
see-
then Wendell kind of convinces her, you know what, the supervisor isn't going to do anything. We need to take this into our own hands.
I think they all
Yeah.
collectively think Farrah kind of sucks. So they left her out of the plan because they weren't sure if she was going to, suck up to the supervisor or actually be there for her kids. And she
Yeah.
pulled a Uno reverse and was like, no, I'm going to help you. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So are they going to be like calling somebody in to help them?
No, they want to get a message out. So
They wanna
he
get a
got the
message out.
access code. They're not going to leave. They said they need to get a message out. So
Okay.
you wouldn't know this because you didn't watch the trailers, but in the trailer, there's a scene where the kids are hearing a message over from
Okay.
their parents. So
So the message
Oh,
isn't well, the message is kind of, I thought, interpreted as a call for help, like for somebody, this
like a
group.
distress
I think they
signal.
send it to the kids.
Oh, to the kids.
Yeah, because in the trailers,
Oh.
they're like, keep going, like, you can do this, like, keep
Oh my
fighting, like,
gosh.
keep trying to get home
Never
type
give up
thing.
or something
Yeah,
like
never
that.
give up.
Yeah.
So I
Oh.
think that's what they're trying to do because they don't want to get in trouble. They also don't want to attract any attention. They know something else is going on. But yeah, I think they left Farrah out at the beginning because she kind of sucks. And then they were like, oh, okay, you're cool.
You know what might
Yeah.
happen though? The kids might not get that message because if Jod takes the Onyx Cinder with SM33 and leaves the kids behind, he will see the message potentially and then just be like, oh, whatever. And like the kids will see it later, or the kids will think the parents forgot about them and he won't tell them until later when it's like
It might be a tricky edit.
Yeah. But that leads me to, can I throw a wild speculation up there?
Yes.
Well, it's not wild because I feel like people are
Okay.
wondering if this is going to happen, but you got Bryce Dallas Howard next episode. If Jod leaves with the Onyx Cinder with SM33, what if another bounty hunter and his little friend show up and give the kids a
Okay,
ride?
that's not wild, John. We've been saying this for like episodes that Mando is going to show out. Don't turn this into John's coming up with this idea that Mando's showing up.
No. I'm not going for that. I'm not going for clout. There is no clout chase. Unfollow me on social media. Block me. I don't care. I mean,
so guys, what if?
No, but specifically this situation. Like it's one thing to be like, oh, I think Mandalorian's gonna show up. But if you line up how it could happen, that's the thing that's a little different, I think.
All right, go ahead, keep going.
That's it. That's all I got.
Oh.
But it's New Year's Eve. It comes out. People might be home and watching this, and they're gonna like give us like maybe a promo for the Mando movie or something like that. Here's Mando. Reminder to go see the Mandalorian in theaters. Next year. Whatever. But yeah, I'm not saying. I'm saying if he shows up, this is what's going to happen, which is he's going to find the kids. He's going to be on a bounty. He saw a puck and he's like, all right, I'm going to help these kids. Or Grogu made him help the kids. He shows up there. He gives them a ride and eventually they track down Jod or something like that. But I'm
He's
not like
doing bounties anymore, though. He's working for the Republic.
But who knows what he's doing?
Yeah.
Because if
I'm
the
poking
Republic...
holes in your theory right now.
Well, get ready for another pushback. Here we go. Hitting the paddle, pickleball right back to you. Because Kim has the X-Wings who work for the New Republic searching for Crimson Jack. So maybe as a part of that, Mando's working with them and he goes to the
We already said
trace.
this weeks ago, John. We already talked about this. With
What are
Paul
you
maybe
talking
showing
about?
up. Yes, with Paul showing up, and
No,
I said
not him.
like
The other two guys. The other two guys.
But he works with Paul. He works with Carson Teva.
Yeah, he's not going to be.
Well, okay. I'll just say if this happens, Grogu and Neil need to have a moment, or I'll be upset.
I
know.
They're like the two cutest things in Star Wars.
Yeah. What a waste.
That might be cuteness overload. That's like the Anzellans hugging Grogu and
Yeah, everybody in the chat is saying Hondo, not Mando.
I don't think Hondo's showing up in this.
People really want Hondo to show up, and I kind of hope it.
I know. It would make sense.
That'd be awesome. That would be really cool.
I would love that.
Do you think he will show up in this, Jen Marie?
I don't know, but I think it's probably the best time to bring that character into live action.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It would be the most fitting. Yeah.
All right. Got that out of the way. Let's talk
I'm
more
sorry,
about
who
this.
do you think's showing up? Oh, right. Mando. Got it.
Oh boy. We got to record a whole nother podcast after this. It's gonna be a rough one. All right. So overall, with this episode, a lot of people have said it's their favorite. It's certainly my favorite, and with 3 to go. But there's just it was just such a fun episode, and it's like the cat and mouse element of it. A lot of humor. Like, I love that this show is leaning into humor while also giving us high stakes. Like, I was still pretty stressed out watching some aspects of this episode, and it's like they're capturing the perfect blend of keeping it fun. Because, like, if you take Star Wars, like A New Hope, and you suck out the humor of it, like, they're in a really perilous situation on the Death Star. Like, it's not funny. Like, but Star Wars is funny. So they're doing the same exact thing with Skeleton Crew. It's like, it's just as dire for any of these kids as it is for Cassian Andor, but Andor is this dark show with, not humor, and it's like very serious. But this is still very high stakes in a really perilous situation for these kids, but the show's also really funny, and I feel like they've struck a perfect balance at doing both things. It's not too silly, but it has serious elements while giving us laughs along the way, because I laughed a bunch on this episode.
Yeah.
What do you think is your funniest moment, John?
Man, I mean, everything with SM33, like, he is this crotchety old guy who's mad that Splash Mountain got turned into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Like, he rolls up to Skull Mountain, which is like this awful, awful place from his history, and he's like, they went and ruined it. And it's like this beautiful, like, amazing spa, and there's moons from the banking clan with towels on their heads, and they're in the bath, and it's just, I think it's so funny how upset he is that it's not a horrible place anymore. So I think, like, SM33 has been.
Do you think
such
that's a little
highlight.
poking fun from the writers a little bit? Like, oh, they've ruined it. They've made it so terrible. Look what they did. It's such a corporate thing now. Oh my God. It used to be so great.
Maybe a little bit, a little subtext. Yeah. But I feel like SM33, like, I figured it was going to be a cool character, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a K2 knockoff because he looks a little similar. But Nick Frost has just been so funny, like, through and through. And, like, it's been such a consistently good character that I can't get enough when I see him. I really feel like it was a perfect addition for this show because, like I was saying before, he's still doing a lot of, like, really important things to push the story. He's not just there for comic relief, but he is comic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite was when he was like searching. Because how many droids have we seen, like, kind of dig into the database or try to get a code or something, and none of them are going searching.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. Also, when he busted out of his restraints, like, they were completely useless. He was just like, all right, here we go.
Oh yeah. That was surprising.
And then how he was like, he does care about the kids, but his programming just, like, supersedes that, because he's always like, I'm sorry, kids, but I gotta kill you now. It's like, oh my God, this
I
guy.
know. Do we think something with his programming could change? Like, because I'm just thinking the kids are, like, deeper into this mountain now. How are they gonna get out?
I know. So you have to think, if that's a booby trap, that can't have dropped them into pillows and in, like, a nice
Or
situation.
spikes.
Oh my gosh.
Unless that is Tak Rened's, like, escape if somebody infiltrated his, like, base. So maybe it could be a slide that leads to, a ship or an escape pod. Like, we don't know. We know that the kids are okay. Like, we're not tuning into Bryce Dallas Howard and the kids are, like, laying in a pile of bones on the bottom of a pit somewhere. So we know they're ultimately okay. But I just don't know. I don't know where they're going.
Yeah,
that was one of the most brutal things with the spikes, by the way, where the guy, like, floats up. Because I always watch with subtitles, and it's like flesh squelched. I was like,
oh yeah, that was terrible. I am a little worried about KB though, because she was concerned about going deep into the mountain. I don't know if it's some, like, respiratory problem or something, having to do with like
Mhm.
the air or whatever, but now she's even deeper. So I'm just wondering if we'll have an episode pretty soon where it kind of focuses on her a little
That's
more.
Her, yeah, and her
oh
issue, her
no.
health issue that
Yeah,
her
her health
parents are
issue.
freaking out about. Yeah.
I know.
That's a good point too. Yeah, because she has, I would say out of the four kids, she's probably had the least focus.
Mhm.
Yes.
Um, or FaceTime, whatever you want to call it. But she clearly like there's always hints at there's something more with her. So yeah, I'm
Hmm.
actually very curious to see. That's a good point. She did say like I can't go down there, and now she,
Yeah.
like you said, she's further
And
down
I'm like, oh
than
gosh,
before.
now how much
Yeah,
deeper did
yeah,
they
right.
go?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Uh,
Good point. Good point.
I think it's going to drop them down some type of chute that sends them out into the location of the big crab that we've seen online, like with the stop motion crab. I think it's going to shoot them out into like a garbage dump.
Oh,
oh.
that. Hmm.
Or like originally it wasn't that, but now that the spa's there, it lets out at the garbage. Because we see all these clips of that we haven't seen yet of them climbing like on piles of garbage, and that it kind of
Oh.
reminded me of Labyrinth, where the chutes send them out into garbage, or the chute sends them into the eternal bog, or whatever it is. Like the slides always send them into like kind of a place that isn't crazy dangerous, but just kind of sucks. Like I don't think they're gonna put kids in a situation they're like, oh my god, one kid lost an arm or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Hope
I
not.
think the dynamic of the group has changed. You had Fern and Wim kind of fighting head to head and kind of vying to be the leader. And then I think Wim kind of got basically spotlighted this episode that he's not as tough as he thinks he is from the moment in
Yeah.
the beginning where he's crying and then he lights the lightsaber facing the ground.
Oh.
Hmm.
Which
That was
we
funny.
all would have been there at some point, right? We all would
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
been like, I got this. But I think Fern is going to be a different character moving forward. And I have to admit, she's kind of been getting on my nerves lately. Like she's kind of been a little annoying.
Ooh.
Because it's just she fights Jod every step of the way. And I'm not saying she's not right in doing that because clearly he betrayed them in this episode. So she had some
Yes.
kind of like a gut feeling about it. But oh my God, I can't stand the part that like made me go, ugh, was the part where they're in the hotel room and Jod goes, "Are you listening to anything I just said?" And she was
Oh.
like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, what did I just say?" And she said, "Are you listening to anything I just said?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like that just makes me want to like my anxiousness of like someone being like, "We need to move, we need to do this, like hurry, hurry, hurry."
Yeah.
And someone's being like, "What's your problem?" Like that is, oh my God. The anxiety I felt in that moment, like regardless if he was Jod or not, I was like, you guys need to listen to him. Like I was like so stressed watching that scene.
Yeah. And he lost his cool with them.
Yeah, he did.
So
Um,
yeah.
I felt bad for Wim too. I don't. I do want to know what happened to his mom because they
I
never
know.
said what happened to her. So I hope it's not a final frames like she shows up type of thing. You know.
Mm.
But you never know with this stuff. I just I do
Sarah, I'm sorry, Sarah made a good point that Jod is very dad on vacation.
100% can confirm. Yeah, or at
We
home.
literally just saw him go through all the different emotions and responding to the, like I said, all these different scenarios. We saw him kind of, or try to be like, calm and understanding. And then we saw him lose it. And there was just so many different sides of him. But I don't think he's ever had like interactions with kids before. Doesn't seem
Mhm.
like it. So it's just all new to him. And I think he's trying to be helpful and kind when he wants to be, but like he has a goal.
Yeah.
And yep,
Yeah.
ultimately that's what he cares about the most.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the scales are gonna tip at some point where the kids eventually win him over at the end by the
Yeah.
end. But yeah, and I think it's cool that every episode we're sort of getting this moment of reminders that they're little kids. And it's like last episode we had it with Fern where she had her breakdown and like Wim had to go help her. And now this episode, it's Wim having his moment, and Jod's there, and like you said, Jen Marie, he wanted nothing to do with it, but then he said, I miss my mom, and he's like, I gotta talk to this kid.
Yeah.
So it's like, he cares about them, otherwise he would have just walked away. And he gives him his little speech about not, don't rely on attachments and stuff. And it makes me think, like, whatever childhood Jod had, he didn't really have one. And it's sort of like when you see like child actors and they get older and then they try to relive elements of their childhood as adults. And it's like he didn't have that, and he's experiencing these kids sort of potentially going through the same thing, and he's finally connecting with people because he was everything he's saying about like his homeworld. Oh, it was smoky and gross like this. I don't have attachments. I didn't have a childhood, all that stuff. It's like he's connecting with them and seeing them seeing his childhood through their eyes, I think. And I'm not trying to get too deep with it, but good writers do these types of things. And I think ultimately that's gonna be what like they're learning from each other, and then eventually
Yeah.
they're gonna win him over in the end. Because I don't want to.
I don't think he's fully bad. I think he made
Yeah.
a
I don't
choice
either.
because he's desperate for money for whatever reason. We don't
Agreed.
know yet. Like, does he have a sick
Yeah.
family member? Is he trying to support a kid? Like, we don't know what the backstory is there. Does he owe someone bad money? I think that if you're looking at the situation as an adult, which we hear multiple times, oh, this is the thing that annoyed me about Furnace. She kept being like, we're just kids. And then she'd be yelling at Jod and everybody else, being like, I'm the captain. It's like, are
Yeah.
you the captain or are you a kid? Because you seem to be a kid when you're in trouble or when you're upset about something, but then you're not a kid when you want to make the decision. So someone's got to put their big girl pants on, because which one's it going to be? That's how I felt this episode. I was like, you can't have both. But Jod very much, to me, as the adult in the room, is thinking, these kids have crazy pirates chasing after them. I want to get my reward. I see this wanting to go my way, but I also have to protect them. He needed to become the captain, because if he wasn't the captain, he'd have to fight SM-33. He'd have to fight Fern every step of the way. He had to become the captain. He was never going to hurt her because he stood there saying, say yield, say yield, say yield. He could have just killed her. Like, he could have just shot her, stabbed her, done whatever he wanted. He didn't. He said, just say it. You have to say it. Just say it. Go ahead. Just say it. And like had multiple chances to do something. To me, it just says that he wants his reward. And I don't think he felt that he was going to get it and or could protect them any better if he wasn't the captain. Also, it's a little weird following kids around and taking orders from them.
Yeah.
There were some hints that he wasn't going to hurt them, and the one main one that stood out to me was when he held the blade to her, the sharp blade part was facing out.
Yeah.
So he was holding it to her, and it was like the back side of the blade, which I'm sure you can kill somebody with, but like the actual blade part was facing out, and he was like holding it above her chin, not over her neck. And like he was basically, like you're saying, Lacey, just saying like, just give up. Like, I don't want to hurt you guys, but I want this treasure, and the only way I'm gonna survive this is if I'm running the show. And like I think like next
we learn in the
episode-
scene before that where they're talking about the treasure and the acid, and they're like, oh, they want to sacrifice us, and he's like, you know nothing about pirates. That
Right.
immediately tells him they don't know about the code, they don't know what pirates want, and he's working in his head like, how do I make this work for myself? And he knew he had to take the moment he got it. Yeah.
And then the last thing that retroactively stood out to me was at the beginning of the episode, they're about to turn on SM, and Fern looks at Jod and goes, "You're afraid," and he looks at her and he goes, "You're afraid," and like she didn't disagree. And I think at that moment, because I think just like shortly after that, SM does another one of his like, I have to listen to the captain, and Jod's like, oh my god, like no, like she's not a pirate, she doesn't know what she's doing. Like
she's a kid.
His frustration just boiled over the collective of all these things to the point where he's like, I don't want to do this. I got to do a power move here. I got to scare them so that they realize that we got to make some changes around here. And I think the next episode is going to make the ending of this episode not feel as evil from Jod's perspective. I think he's gonna be like, look,
Mm.
I didn't want to do it. I had to do it. If you want to live, I got to lead. And she's gonna be like, fine.
I think they're going to be traumatized for a bit.
I think it might be traumatized for a bit.
Oh
Too.
my gosh, like they were so scared. KB had a tear rolling down her cheek, and oh, that was sad.
Yeah,
Because she was the first one that was like, I don't trust you. And he's like, sometimes you just need to go with your gut, like trying to build this relationship with her. So I'm sure she was like, I was right. I knew I was right. I do want to bring up Michelle in the chat brought this up, which is a good kind of check-in, which is I'm wondering why Renaud's face wasn't clear. This has to be for a reason. So those of you that are in the chat or are listening and don't know who Renaud is he's like the main pirate guy. He was the captain of SM-33. He's the one that knew about the treasure, who has the coordinates to Aden. And we see a hologram of him in his captain's log, and it shows kind of all of him, but not his face. I've seen online people saying that he's NEEL's species. I don't know where people got that from, but a lot of people were saying that.
One of the monuments in the lair is what appears to be of that species, the face of it. And then it led people to speculating is President No Head, like, is that statue was the head like of that species too? And then I think people are like, is Neil's dad really the supervisor, or is it just another member of that species? The only thing that made me scratch my head was like, when I was thinking about Neil's family and how they were presented to us, it was very just like innocent, like wholesome, loving family. And then she's rolling up in the office with like this bootleg hack like gear. I'm like,
Anne was calling the shots. She was like,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I'm
get
like-
this code.
I'm like, there's more.
Yeah.
There's more to this than, hi Neil, let's go get some ice cream. You know. So I like this episode really just like flipped a lot of things for me, and it keeps making me ask more questions. So I don't
Which
know.
I
Jeffrey,
like.
What do you make of
Okay,
Neil's
so
mom and all that?
so I guess my first question is, have you guys discussed time and time travel within any of these episodes?
I briefly said when they first touched down on at Akron and the platform opened, I'm like, oh, is this like Flight of the Navigator, where they like somehow they're in a different time, but it's at Aten and it's destroyed? That was the only thing I said. So what do you got?
Because there's like multiple things that make me question that. Number one, the number of names that Jod has. There's like 5 of them now or something. And then Lanupa, the planet Lanupa, had about 3 different names. And then there's that whole system like at Aten, at Akron, and whatever the rest of those were called. And then when we were first introduced to Captain Rened, he explained that he was terrorizing the star systems looking for at Aten, and then he disappeared. And so I'm like, okay, that could go into the whole time theory, or that could just mean like he disappeared on purpose. I don't know. And I even had a crazy theory, like, what if Captain Rened is Jod?
All right, explain. Lay it on me.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, he's just as obsessed as Captain Rened was. And if the whole time thing is like completely off, I thought maybe Captain Rened could have, crash landed or whatever on Aten, and now he's the supervisor who we also have not seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Time travel, like, where the world between worlds is dangerous enough. And like, if Star Wars started doing time travel, I think we're all screwed.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I think you're on point with there's too much change that has been going on with these locations and people and stuff. The only thing I'm hung up on is I don't think that ship crashed, and I don't think Rened died.
Like,
because I said this last week, and Jen Marie, let me know what you think. Like, the way that ship was buried there, it was just so convenient that the door to it was facing perfectly flush with the side of that hill. Like, it doesn't, like, if something crashed there, I don't know that it would get completely submersed except for the door to get into the ship. So I almost want to think that SM was programmed with a memory that it did crash and that everyone died, and
Mm,
whoever that captain was, because the coordinates were slashed on the other planet, so he knew he was going there for a reason. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
it would make sense for that captain to have been like, all right, well, if I program this droid with these false memories, then I'm in the clear now because everyone else is dead, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because why would he have all these different aliases? And
Yeah.
then I just thought right now, well, maybe he couldn't have also been Captain Rennet at some point unless something happened with his memory because he would have recognized the Onyx Cinder,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he seemed very surprised in that moment to realize what that ship was and that whole story.
Yeah. It was like when Finn was on the Millennium Falcon. He's like, this
Talking
is
about
the
Han
Millennium
Solo.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Ray,
It's just
yeah.
very interesting. Like, why do we keep seeing all these? Yeah, even Lanupa. Why does it have that many different names?
Right. No, that's a good point. And it seems like until we find out more about Ad and like the hints they gave, what did Wendell say? That's the dad, right? Wendell?
Yeah, Wendell. Yep.
Yeah,
Hard to keep track of these names,
I
but
know.
when he said something about it won't, like, sending out a message won't give up our locate, like Ad-Aden's location or something, right? Wasn't that what he said?
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
It's it's almost like whatever they are, this last mint of the old republic or whatever, somebody like either erased it from star charts, sort of like Camino in Attack of the Clones, to preserve the resources to create currency. I don't know if that's ultimately what's going to be discovered by the end. I never need every question answered at all times. I just, as long as the characters go through their arcs, I'm usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like this whole Ad-Aten thing, especially after some of the bomb swing and misses I had with Acolyte, like I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
with this. There's got to be more to it than just pirates are out for this planet because it has unlimited, gold, essentially.
I think the
Yeah.
captain is the supervisor. I think he crashed
Okay.
there, got there, killed the real supervisor, and just became the supervisor.
So
Mhm.
you think he did crash?
I don't think he crashed there because I think we talked about it last episode where we were like talking about the door and how it's like perfectly
Right.
able to get out of. Like, did they bury it on purpose? But I think that he either crash landed on purpose, killing the whole crew, or put it there and buried it. But he's definitely the supervisor because nobody gets to see the supervisor. And I think originally, probably the supervisor was someone else, but this pirate came in, killed him, and became the supervisor.
Which is
Who
just a
wouldn't want to?
bogus name anyway.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to live a cushy job at the top of a tower where all these people wait on you hand and foot? Like, then you don't have to be a pirate anymore. You could just chill
Yeah. And I guess disappeared could mean on at Atten because no one can find this place apparently.
up in the tower. Yeah, up
Yeah.
and nobody sees him. Nobody goes anywhere. It's just he's the
Yeah.
supervisor.
Oh man. Yeah. Or did somebody on Ad-Aten also find the ship first and like obtained some information from
And
it?
covered everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love that we're, you feel 5 episodes through and we still we still don't know. So I mean, we can keep throwing the theories out there, but we'll get our answer. I do want to like just go back to paying tribute to just this episode in general. I just feel like it was such a fun ride. Like it felt like I was on a ride, and I
It looks like
I
Solo, first of all. I guess rich people in Star Wars like
the
cold
mountains,
mountains.
the mountains of Vandor from Solo, it did look very
Yeah.
similar
It's
to
like
that.
Coruscant meets Hoth vibes.
Yes. Yeah. So
Mhm.
what do you guys think of the creature stuff? So we have the hut, which to me seemed like it was a completely CG hut.
Hmm.
I don't think that was puppetry.
It definitely
But
was.
but then we had obviously the banking clans there, so we had a lot of munes, and then that big giant beast with the mustache. What was his name? Catholo or something like that. It was almost
Catholics.
like
Catholics,
It was almost
yeah.
like Cthulhu, but yeah, Catholips. I just love that they're doing this. Lacey, I will agree with you though. Too much basic going on. Once you said
Oh,
that they've been having too many species and creatures speaking English, now I'm like, oh, who's this creature? Oh, they're about to speak, and then they're like, hello, how are you today? And I'm like, ah.
it feels sometimes cartoony.
Yeah.
Catholics felt kind of cartoony to me because
Yeah, he
he
did.
spoke basic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the waiter guy was funny in English because he probably had to learn it to work there. Like that makes sense. Like, oh, he
Yes.
has to know basic to wait on these rich people.
That's true.
So that's
Mhm.
why it made it funny where he was like, please, please, no, not again. And you just hear, "Bruh."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the only thing we really haven't discussed is Pocket, who is played by, I believe, Kelly McDonald, who does Merida and Brave, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the contacts. I thought it was a little much. However, I do like the name Pocket. I thought that's kind of the coolest bounty hunter name, like with the
That
two
was cool.
Ks.
Yeah. I love
Uh,
the spelling so much. It's very Star
yeah.
Wars.
It was very cool. And like the whole braid and everything. I knew the moment she saw him, I was like, he's in trouble. There it goes.
Yeah.
There it is.
But why does he keep getting in? Like, he pisses everybody off. Like,
I know. And he has so like is he gonna even have more names? Are there
I
more
know.
names?
It
What is
never
with all
ends.
these different aliases?
Yeah,
And
what
do
was
we
the-
know his like supposed Jedi name? If he or maybe he trained but never became a Jedi? I don't know.
I know. So now we have Dash Zenton and Jodwick
Yeah.
Zank,
Yes.
and it's like, so that's
She
why
called
I
him
was
Dash, though, didn't she?
Dash
something?
Zenton.
Dash Zenton.
Yeah.
Zenton.
Dash.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then the security guys said Jodwick Zank as he was chasing them. So they had another name for him.
I'm telling you, I think Jod Nawood was him just coming up with a name. Him being like, Jod Nawood. That's me. I'm the guy.
I want that to be his real name. Like, I
Did
want
he
him
do
to
that
say-
because of Atten? Nah, what?
Oh, maybe. That's a good point. Yeah, it could be.
Oh my gosh.
And it is. Yeah, David put in the comments, it's like Han Solo. And it's like, yeah, Han Solo and TFA. They're like, there's
Mhm.
nobody left in the galaxy for you
No
to
one
swindle.
left to swindle.
And it's like, that's exactly who Jod is right now. Like, Jod is sort of like when like anyone who ever wished that Han Solo had the Force, it's like Jod Nana would. There you go. That
Yeah.
is that character. He often acts before he thinks. He always tries to weasel his way out of something, and he gets by the skin of his teeth. Like, it's all the DNA of the character is all there. And
Yeah.
we always hear about the Han Solo archetypes, like he's the rogue bad boy, but you love him. He has a heart of gold and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we get that a lot, and they try to do that with Poe Dameron. But Jod, to me, call me crazy, I think he's the closest to Han Solo that we've seen in Star Wars.
100%. Everything he does, I'm like, this is Han Solo.
And I
Except
think
better,
it's on purpose.
better than Han Solo. He's better at being Han than Han. You know what I mean? Like he gets out of it
I
better.
can't take that. I
That-
can't agree with that. But I love the boldness.
I'm saying, like, going back to what you just said, Force Awakens. He's like, oh, I got the blah, blah, blah. What was the other time? Who's that guy? Jod wouldn't even let that conversation take place. He'd already be making an action or moving or doing
That
something
is true.
that would keep him from being in the awkward situations that make Han.
It's just such a fun character.
Like Jod's one
Yeah.
step ahead, where Han's like, let me figure this out. Give me 1 minute to figure it out. Like Jod's already past that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I do think it is all on purpose, though, because Jude Law did say in an interview Han Solo's his favorite character. And he asked for like that like pinstripe down the seams of his pants.
The blood stripe, yeah.
Yeah, the blood stripe.
Good call. Yeah, I did see that. I think he had like the yellow stripe, which was like
Yes.
Han in Empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice touch there. I I really love the character. I love the kids too. I think they're all great, and I know we're gonna learn more about them, but I'm fully vested in their well-being, so I'm hooked there. I don't need anything else from that perspective. I really do think though that Jod and SM33 are, I don't want to say stealing the show, but I just love everything they're doing with those two characters on this show because yeah, there's familiarity between SM and other droids in Star Wars, and the same with Jod, and like we were saying about Han Solo. But it's like Chris Ford and John Watts did a perfect job of taking familiarity but putting these really cool piratey but also fresh twists on things, and it's like they made the perfect recipe, and for me, like it's hitting on all cylinders. All the parts of Star Wars that I love are in Skeleton Crew.
That's
I,
awesome.
yeah, oh my gosh, for years I've been waiting for like this adventure story that's fun and hilarious and exciting. And it touches on everything that I like. Pirates of the Caribbean, National Treasure, like I said earlier, Labyrinth, like all these different stories and movies that are in my top 10 kind of look like they've gotten mashed into this Star Warsy show. I think Jude Law is, like you said, John, like stealing it for me. He's so good. Every single line he gives is given with purpose, with just charm, oozing with charm, whether he's angry or happy or serious. Like he is unstoppable. And I know we said it last week, but news came out that about like approximately what he was getting paid per episode is worth every dollar. Like seriously, he's
Nice.
so good. And he's so good with the kids too. Like he
Mm.
lets them shine in their moments as well, like he did with Wim at the beginning of the episode. He didn't overpower him. He let him kind of breathe in those moments that you knew this kid, like this was his acting moment, that he gets to
Hmm.
talk about his parents and that serious beat that people are going to look back and be like, man, that Wim kid can act. Like Jude Law knew that, and he was letting him do that while also raising him up, which I really
Mm.
liked. And that, even though I kind of poked fun at her earlier with Fern being like, "Oh, she's getting on my nerves," that means she's doing a good job, by the way. That doesn't mean she's
Yeah.
bad at her job. That means she's very good at it. And the fact that she can hold her own with Jude Law, like
I
insane,
know. Yeah.
insane. Um, I'm really interested to see where this story goes. But man, I was thinking about it earlier when I was getting ready for the pod tonight, and I was just like, this is what I've been craving for years from Star Wars movies. Like, if there was romance in this, it would be 110%
100%.
for me. I'm being serious. Like, if there was some type of romance, like it would be like nothing would ever top this. And that's kind of what we got with Solo and why I love Solo so much.
Mm.
Um, I think that's the only thing that's missing for me, and it's hard to do that with a kids show, and I get that. But man, if it did, this would be 100% every episode for me.
I mean,
It's funny that you
maybe.
mentioned that because I've been enjoying it so much, but I don't even think I thought, because I always think, okay, who am I going to ship next?
Yeah.
Where's the romance? But I haven't even thought about that until you just brought it up right now. That's
Yeah,
how good it is.
it is
Yeah.
very, very good.
It's really, it's just been a joy to watch and a joy to see the Star Wars community come together and enjoy something
Yes.
for
Amen to
once.
that. Amen to
And
that.
but yeah, every time I watch it, I feel like I'm watching something like a Star Wars show from the 80s that I never saw before, but
Yes.
looks
Yeah,
so like cinematically beautiful. Like I wish
it
we could
does.
watch every episode on the big screen.
I agree. I
Oh,
think the visual effects have been so good. I think the creature
yeah.
work has been outstanding. The sets are so cool, knowing that they filmed that in the volume and they're still able to give this
Oh,
like really expansive horizon, and like I think whatever buttons they pushed with this show, you got to give the nod to the showrunners and of course all the directors.
The
But
Jodna nod.
right,
What?
yeah, yeah, the Jod nod. Yes, very well done, well done. But yeah, overall, I think it's been great. I do love that they're doing those reminders that these are kids, and it's not like, the all-knowing kid that we see in movies and TV that we're like, oh, I can't stand that kid. It's like they're showing their naivety, they're showing their vulnerabilities, they're showing that they're scared, that they're alone.
Yeah.
And every time either John Watts or Chris Ford are asked about the show, the first thing they always say is it's about these kids who get lost in space. And it's like they want to remind you of the simplicity of the intent of the show. And the root of it is these four kids who some know each other, some don't, are getting lost in this galaxy that we've seen a lot of crazy things happen in. And it's like they always give us those like little one moments for each kid in these different episodes to be like bring it back to that one person. So you're looking at that kid in this vastness and seeing them like cry or seeing them be worried or something. And those reminders are so huge because sometimes in these fantasy stories like Peter Pan or whatever, it's like he can do everything. You know, he's the great Pan. But it's like in these kids, these are just normal kids. They were just at school a week ago. And here they are like thrust into this. And yeah, they want to pretend they're captains and stuff. But like Wim even said, he was the one who wanted the adventure. And he's like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I just want to see my dad. And it's like, oh, buddy, me too, man. You know?
I mean, growing up, there's always a point where I feel like it was like my teenage years at some point where you're going on a plane without your parents for the first time. You're driving the car for the first time with no one in it. And there's this nervousness that you're like, oh my God. They went to space. They went to space and a prison and a ruthless pirate port. Now they're on a different planet. They're being shot at. There's booby traps. There's acid. And I was like, I don't know if I could drive this car by myself. And these kids are in space. So
they
like
fought X-Wings. Yeah.
Yes. They're shooting at things. I agree with you, John. Like every once in a while, it's nice that they're reminding you as the viewer, like, these are children. There are a lot of dangers in Star Wars. Like, this is real.
Let's get to those super chats that we have, and then maybe we can give our just thoughts on where we're headed.
Yes. So David Ford's up again. Thanks, David. He said frog escaped via stomach, transverse colon before. We don't know. That's the big mystery of the series. Is how did the frog man get out? Did he get out?
Are transverse colons canon?
I have no idea.
Okay, I don't know, but we need to find out. Like, because I really need to know what not again means. What? I just...
Because don't huts, maybe I'm making this up, but don't huts have like multiple stomachs or something? I feel like I've heard that in Star
I don't know,
Wars,
but in Spirited Away, just so everybody knows, the frog guy does get out at the end. So
I mean, this
he
guy clearly does too.
Yeah. He does.
Okay, well,
He does
there you
survive.
go.
Is he like in the hut's belly and he's like tickling him?
Oh,
and he like
God.
And also, why doesn't he quit his job?
I don't know.
That's
Isn't
a
that
good
enough?
point.
Don't you think that's
what?
I'm going to
Oh my
HR.
gosh.
The job market's so bad. He's like, all right.
Yeah. Oh.
Next up is Brandon. What up, Brandon? He said, first time getting to watch a live. Welcome. We're excited
Brandon.
you're here.
Aw.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Brandon.
man.
And then we have, of course, David Probus, Proby1 Kenobi. What up, man? He said, gotta take off. Have a good weekend, TRB. Jen Marie, thanks for hanging out with us in the base again. Come back anytime. I'm glad that David's inviting you. You're welcome, of course.
Yay.
But I love that our community's like, yeah, come on back.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Let us finish up by saying where we think we're headed. You know, whether it's next episode or if you have a thought, obviously, Jen Marie, for the remainder of the path here. And do you have any hopes of, you know, what you want to happen?
Okay, well, before I share those thoughts, I do have to say one more thing. Neil sniffing Jod was the cutest thing in Star Wars I think I've ever seen.
Wait, when
Did
he do that?
anyone see Neil sniff Jod with his
No.
little trunk? Okay, you have to see it. It's, oh my gosh, I could die. So it's the scene where Cathalip says to the kids, also, like many others have said, you can't trust him. And it doesn't zoom in or anything. It just kind of shows Jod and the kids standing there. And Neil looks over at Jod and he kind of just sniffs him.
He did? That's amazing. Oh,
You got to see it.
good catch.
That's so funny.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because
Okay.
doesn't Cathalip say like I can smell them, you don't trust them or something?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So he goes and smells him. It's oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's so good. Good catch.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that in the
Okay.
next rewatch.
So I did say at the beginning of the episode I would like to see Jod and Brutus go head to head.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really cool if he got to use his lightsaber, but I don't know what kind of weapon Brutus has, if it could withstand that power. I don't know. But I really hope we get to see some lightsaber action. And I think we're gonna see Kim come back, that little owl,
Nice. I hope
because she
so.
did tell one of the kids, like, call me, for
KB.
backup if you need me. KB.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still hoping that she's like a Jedi because she has her attire is very Jedi-ish.
It is very Jedi, yeah.
And it would be the tiniest lightsaber, and it would just be so cute.
That would be cool.
So yeah.
But now you got me thinking about like seeing a lightsaber duel. Like what if Brutus has access to Beskar or something,
Yeah.
and then that could work.
Mhm.
Man, you got me all excited. Now we're gonna see like a lightsaber fight.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's highly possible we'll see at least something with the lightsaber. With the way it ended, that was amazing.
That was cool.
That
And
was
it like what kind of skills does Jude Law have?
I
with a
know.
sword. Do we have a history in his filmography of him doing any sword work? Has he done sword stuff?
Not yet, but it has been very obvious over the episodes that his force powers are getting stronger. So we see him in the jail trying to get the key, and he had to kind of focus a bit to get it. Then he's flipping off lights. Then he's grabbing this. Then the whole hit the holodeck thing that he just kind of lifted up easily. Then he does the infamous Star Wars lightsaber grab, the Rey moment. It just feels like over the episodes, it's one of those things. Going back to what kind of Dave Filoni had said with Ahsoka, it's like training yourself and flexing that muscle over time, and you keep doing it, you'll get better and better. So it feels like he's getting more powerful as the episodes, like maybe he shut that power off for whatever reason, and now he's being openly flexing it, that he realizes like, oh wait, I can do something with this.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Has he used his force powers on anything that wasn't an object yet?
We haven't seen it because there's been a lot of stuff off camera. So like him convincing the other tribe to give back the Eopes, all that other stuff has been off camera, and that's why it's been a little sneaky.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that would be cool if his pathway, say he disconnected from the force sort of like Luke did when he went to Octo.
Right.
And it's like
for his own protection, people would kill him if they knew he had the force powers.
Like he could be inadvertently growing with the force because he's developing a connection with these kids, and it's like they say the force flows through all living things, and it's like you feed off each other in this symbiotic circle. All that stuff Yoda said too. But what if he is connecting with these kids in this way that he didn't have that connection before, and it's reconnecting him to the force? Or what if one of these kids is what if KB's force sensitive or something? Or what if, we don't know, because like Jen Marie, you said, there's definitely more going on with her, and they keep reminding us of that because like you brought up, she didn't want to go down into the pits.
Yeah.
So man, I'm just so excited.
I do want to bring this up really quick.
More excited for the next episode. Yeah.
Interesting.
Rob himself, what up, Rob, in the chat says, I'm still not convinced he's using the force. Every time Jod uses the force, and he puts it in quotes, it's a metal object, and he's wearing those gloves. So this is one of the things people have said, like, oh, is it a magnet? Is that would be quite the trick, Rob, because at one point they did play the force sound, like the sound that they use in Star Wars. So if he is using a magnet, which we never know, he could be, that is a tricky trick from the sound design team to be using that very specific Jedi force user sound for a magnet. And that's the reason why I lean against it being a magnet.
Yeah, because would he have also, I feel like he wouldn't have been so quick to force pull the lightsaber.
And everything's different speeds too. It took him a while to get the key. It took him a different speed to get the holodeck. And then this quick grab with the lightsaber, like you can't control speeds with a magnet.
Yeah, there's something going on with him. I do see Kyle B in the chat wrote he believes Kiriana Crater, who plays KB, said the next episode is the most KB heavy episode.
Oh, okay.
very interesting.
I think she has health issues in the next episode, which
Yeah.
I strongly believe it's Bryce Dallas Howard's episode. Mando definitely is showing up. I think he's showing up at some point, some type of cameo. It's happening. I think the kids, like I said earlier, are going to be dumped out into that area with the crab, which
Mhm.
is Phil Tippett's team did the stop motion crab, which looks like it's from Moana.
And then
Is it big?
It's huge. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then right
Wow.
before he's about to eat them, we're going to hear woo woo,
Woo, woo, woo, woo.
ba-boom, and then we're all going to be like,
or a jet
"Ah!"
or a rocket's going to hit him. And then they're all going to turn and he's going to be flying in with his jetpack.
Oh,
Oh, man.
that'll be wild.
And now
That
he's
would be
not going to
so
show
cool.
up, and we're all going to be
I know.
like, ah! No,
I'm fine if he doesn't. I just think he will because it's kind of
Yeah.
that glue that's holding all these stories together. And it seems like the perfect way to set up the fact that he's working with the Republic. That's where we see him at the end of Mando season 3, or sorry, season 3 or season 4. I'm losing my mind. Season 3.
Season
We see
3.
him. Yeah, we see him teaming up with Carson Teva. We see him in the bar on that planet with all the fighter pilots. You know, we've seen clips of him
Zeb,
with
yeah.
Zeb in the new Mando movie. So
Mhm.
it just seems like, why wouldn't he show up at least for a little bit, just to remind people like, oh, this is the same timeline. This is the same time frame of all these shows. They're all
Same
connected.
executive producers, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Or like just that they get them all. Like Ahsoka shows up too. She's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Hey."
They're all just high-fiving.
I don't know, but I'm gonna go on more adventures real soon. And like, okay, Ahsoka. Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys, before we get out of here?
I just love this show so much.
Yeah.
10
I
10
really
out of
like
10,
the way
right?
the episodes conclude. They're so good and they are cliffhangers, but they don't aggravate me.
Yeah. Right.
Because I get so like those cliffhangers in Star Wars sometimes. It's just like, no. But
No,
they're
I
so
agree.
good the way these episodes end. Oh, I love them.
I do too. I think they just I don't know how the viewership is or whatever, and you hear varying things, but I don't care. I think it's been a great show. I look forward to the rest of it, and I have confidence in the writers that they're going to round it out and finish telling the story. And if there is an opportunity to see them again, then I think that's awesome.
I did laugh at the when the pirates show up to Lanuba and they're like, "Welcome to Lanuba. This is a
Amazing.
piece of."
That
That
I
was great.
I laughed so hard. It's like when you call like the numbers to get to customer service and you just want to like throw your phone
Zero!
at them.
Oh my
Yeah.
Agent.
And right before that person, like in a friendly Disney have a magical stay way, was like about to say, "If you don't comply, you'll be shot down." They shot him down before he could even say that. They're like, "We're done with you. Goodbye." That was oddly like, maybe I'm evil because that was oddly satisfying.
No, it was. And then the at the
Yeah.
before that, when the kids and Jod land and their ship is like total trash, and the lady looks at it and she's like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh man. Well, great times, great chat. We do have to wrap up, but we want to thank everybody for listening or watching and being a part
We
of
have one super chat
TRB.
left. Do you want to get to it real
Oh,
quick?
Yeah.
What up, Star Snips? What up, girl? She said, just a big happy new year to everyone in TRB land. Looking forward to 2025. What 2025 holds for the base. Thank you for a great year, John and Lacey.
Oh,
Well, thank
thank
you.
you.
We're really
Thank you.
excited. We have
Thank you,
new
Snips.
merch coming. John and I, we were actually talking to Jen Marie about it, going to Japan, which is crazy. And we also have some guests lined up already for the new year for TRB. We'll
Yes.
back to not doing Galactic Goonies, which we are so excited for.
Yeah, we are absolutely pumped about that. We'll reveal that when the time comes. But yeah, a reminder about our guests coming up. We have Xanthi on New Year's Day to talk about episode 6. Ken and Joseph from Force Center on Thursday, January 9th. Somebody has a work happy hour Wednesday. That'd be me. And then January 15th, subscribe to the channel so I can do this as my regular thing. January 15th, Clayton with us for the finale. And then, like Lacey said, more guests being booked for TRB once Galactic Goonies is over. But Jen Marie, our guest today, a blast as always, my friend.
Thank you so much.
so much. You didn't skip a beat. So if it has been this long for you podcasting, we're right in the pocket. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was amazing. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And then one last time, your plugs for our listeners to follow you and subscribe to you and all that stuff.
Yeah, so my blog is anakinandhisangel.com, and then you can find me everywhere on social media. The same name, Anakin and His Angel, except for X, where I'm at Across the Stars.
Awesomeness. And then for us, TRB Podcasts across social media, Apple, Spotify, of course, YouTube, if you like to watch the show, youtube.com/@TRB Podcasts. We are 97,000 subscribers away from me having to wear a metal bikini in Japan. So we're right there, guys. 97,000 subscribers to go. And you can see this frame in a metal bikini in Japan. Good God, help us all. But anyway, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. For me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky X as well. And Lacey, how about you?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gillerin and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gillerin. And then, of course, on Mondays on Nerdy and Nice, which Squid Game 2 just started up. And holy moly, did they go for it this time. I can't wait to talk about it this Monday. I am so pumped.
Yeah, don't spoil it because you probably watched more than I did. But
I've only watched. I've
never seen it.
Oh,
do you like?
I don't know. Do you like violence? Do you like violence?
Do you like violence?
Not like super gory, but
like
I like
Hunger
violence.
Games. Hunger Games, like 11. That's basically what.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty brutal. Pretty brutal.
It's a good show though, and Lee Jung Jae is awesome in it. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, Jen Marie. You are awesome. I can't wait to chat again.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for being on our final episode of 2024.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's it. We're putting a bow on 2024. So thank you very, very much. We really appreciate you coming on. And for everybody else, Lacey and I will be back with you with Xanthi on New Year's Day to talk about episode 6. So we hope the end of your year is great. We hope the holidays are wonderful. And we'll see you next time right here on Galactic Goonies. We'll see you around, kids.
Bye.